Oh, hey! Didn't see you there. Welcome to the holiday special of We Got Issues with our reoccurring cast, Will, Don, and Chad. Evening, gentlemen. Welcome to the show.
What's up?
All right, good times. So I know this is kind of a last-minute assembly.
An abridged version. That's all.
It's a what?
It's an abridged version.
Abridged.
Yes,
all right, cool. I like bridges. So, I guess it being the holiday episode and it being Christmas and all, I figured kind of talk about some comic book related holiday stuff. Were there any Christmas issues that you guys liked growing up as kids?
Oh yeah, in Daredevil. It was one of the Frank Miller runs. I think it was Born Again. Matt Murdock gets stabbed by Santa Claus and left to die bleeding in an alley. That was possibly my favorite Christmas issue.
That's wonderful.
Okay, all right.
It was actually a guy who beat up a Salvation Army Santa and put on his suit and was stealing people's money. But
was there an episode where Punisher dressed up as Santa?
And killed all those people? Yeah, there was that one too. I didn't like that as much.
Thank you, Marvel, for the Christmas memories.
That's right.
How about you, Don?
Probably when I was a kid, probably that, the always holiday DC issue when you have like Superman with a jolly Santa hat on top of his head and, spreading peace and goodwill.
All right.
Mine's really obscure, I guess. In 1992, 93, there was this magazine called Hero Illustrated that was kind of like a Wizard knockoff, but it had a lot of much better writing, some more interesting people writing for it and featuring independents. And one year they wanted to feature Bone for the December issue. So Jeff Smith actually came out with a Christmas issue of Phone Bone and the other Bones, just celebrating the winter solstice. And that was so obscure that only the people who read Hero ever heard of it or collected it. But it was kind of satisfying afterwards because just that one chapter actually made it into the last book of Bone. It's just a part. You all have read Bone. You see that part.
Will doesn't have a childhood, so I don't know if he caught one. He was reading about people getting stabbed in Santa suits.
Yeah.
But there was that. There was that part of the last book where he serves the rat creatures piping hot quiche. And so many people were just so many people that I had passed that off to, like, Chad, that was actually in the. I'm like, how is that in the last? You're lying to us. I'm like, no, that was actually like 10 years before he actually ever wrote the final chapters. And somehow he managed, because he liked the story so much, to fit into the final book.
What does quiche have to do with the winter solstice?
Not sure. But I think they know that the rat creatures like quiche, so I think that was about it. Maybe they were Jewish. I don't know.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, this has been a fun episode. Now, have they ever done any Hanukkah comics or Kwanzaa even?
Well, Frank Miller did originally want Matt Murdock to be stabbed at the menorah, but he felt it would be viewed as anti-Semitic.
He would think that, or want to write that. It's just you always see them trying to pump out some of the Christmas issues, but I don't.
No,
Are there even that many Jewish? I know there's Kitty Pryde.
Yeah,
and the late Doc Samson.
Oh yeah.
I think there was one issue.
Oh wait, late?
Yeah,
didn't he die in the Hulks?
He died in the Hulks.
Oh,
the War of the Hulks.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's why I don't know.
Exactly.
He'll be back. He will be back.
But Peter David actually used to write him as I think he wrote at least one or two stories of him telling Christmas stories, but he was Jewish, so he had no idea how to tell a good Christmas story. I remember there was one obscure story out there where he's talking about Christmas in a superhero motif, and so Hulk actually got the presents to the kids, and the one line I remember is he's so lost for words now, he's hoping it's at an end. One of the kids goes, "What happened to Santa Claus?" And he just goes, "Auntie Claus got him." And all the kids start crying.
Wow, Anti-Claus. I like that.
Wow.
I'm surprised Marvel hasn't done a Red Hulk, Green Hulk Christmas issue though.
Well, the advertisements, right, where they're where you see the Red Hulk with a lump full of coal.
Oh yeah, that's.
Actually, I saw a great comic with it was like a 2-3 panel comic where Santa went to Apocalypse to see Darkseid, and he gave him a lump of coal, here's your lump of coal, And then like Darkseid's like, make sure like he doesn't leave alive. And he's like, oh, see you. Like that was just like
No, yeah, I think I saw something
Santa will
on
find a way to get there.
I think I saw something on Comics Alliance where they did have that DC did have a comic Christmas issue where Superman and Santa Claus were related. He was the Santa Claus from Krypton. He was called Noel.
Oh,
Wow.
That
Was that just a big punchline that you made up yourself? Or?
I wish I could
Don's
take
been,
credit.
since the first
take credit
episode
for
of
that.
August,
Like,
Don's been waiting to.
I've been like, Noel. Yeah, they say it was. His
I'll have to look
his
for that up
distant-
at Scans
his
Daily.
distant cousin Noel.
I'm surprised no
Which
one's.
Earth is that?
I wish I knew.
I'm surprised no
Where
one's.
the reindeer from?
Well, yeah, that's what happens. They absorb the solar energy year round, and
That's why
They
they're
just
able.
save up.
That's why they're able to fly.
And they
And go
shunned
around the
Right,
world
right,
in
the
one
reindeer.
night.
and they
Right.
shunned Rudolph
And
because
Santa
his,
can time travel if he goes backwards around the globe.
well, they shunned
That's
Rudolph
how he's
because his
able to
nose
deliver
is
all the
red
gifts on
kryptonite.
time. Yeah.
Wow.
What about the Lobo issue from years back? I think this has got to be close to 20 years old now. The Lobo versus Santa issue. That was when Keith Griffin was still writing it.
Lobo was fighting.
Simon Bisley was drawing it, and it was it was an issue that actually disturbed me, and I was in my early teens.
Oh, wait, yeah, no, I've seen. Did he eviscerates like one of the reindeer?
He eviscerates pretty close to all of them, and he
I
takes
just
out
remember, like-
he takes out the elves. I think his dog is
Yeah,
just
that
like
was in the same pile as the Daredevil stuff.
yeah.
My uncle really.
Why am I not
I'm
surprised?
surprised you missed that. I'm surprised you missed that.
Ooh,
on your-
Daredevil, Lobo.
But he ends up killing Santa, and he drops bombs using the sleigh, and the reindeer are terrified. The reindeer are talking like, should we be doing this? And one of the reindeer goes, what, are you tired of living? Go, go! He's dropping bombs at the end. And it's he literally goes, Merry Christmas at the end, and he sticks up his middle finger. It was a pretty...
What the frack?
Exactly. It was a pretty... I had to put that one down. I'm just like,
Could you not sleep that night?
Unclean. He just,
Right.
yeah.
Just went too far.
Just had Blanky right next to you that night. Like,
Wow.
I told you not to talk about Blanky.
my bad.
Okay. Well, anyway, so again, sticking with the holiday theme.
Yes.
So one thing I want to talk about was like gift ideas for people for the nerd in your life. I know, my mom won't ever know what to get me. I'm sure some people have a similar problem where they get a nerd in their life they feel obligated to buy something for. So what should you get them? Guys, have any ideas of what would be a good gift idea for someone who doesn't know comics trying to give a gift to someone who is? You could tell this is a last minute. Like,
I know.
It's really a nerd from nerd to non-nerd.
yeah.
I always suggest no matter what you give them, you always have that as a supplementary gift. You never just want, if they're asking for like, socks and, ninja colored long underwear or whatever, well, there might be a bridge there, but if they're asking for clothes and stuff like that, you don't want to just give them something that they're totally not expecting. I always, if I've given comics to friends and family, as I have in the past, it's always just kind of like a little bonus saying, hey, you might be into this.
Right.
When I found out my mom, I've long since known my mom's a Stephen King fan, so when I found out that the Dark Tower series was coming out, I actually got one of those books, and my mom's pretty interested in it.
Cool.
And of course, I ended up one year getting my friend's kid, who I'm kind of like an honorary uncle to. I got him like 2 of the Bone books, and by year's end, the entire family was reading reading
Cool.
the series.
Well done, converting more people
It
to
was
the cause.
Bone is an easy one. I'm actually giving my friend's kid the last of the Bone comics, the Tall Tales one, and I guess they're coming out with a prose book, but I haven't seen it yet. But
Right.
but yes, the one that collects the stupid rat tales and all the other side stories. They weren't like they weren't prologues. They weren't part of the story, but they were mini series that came out.
Oh, that's cool.
It was really.
Peach-centric.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
Okay.
Well, that was going to lead something I was going to ask later on. Was that like, would you get someone who like, isn't into comics, but you want to try to convert them? Like,
Superman Earth 1.
I think that's a great introduction.
Just got
into-
reprinted. Nice hardcover edition.
Yep.
Great art. Good solid writing. No continuity involved.
Right.
Great writer.
Yeah, and people can sometimes surprise you too. I mean, I think probably getting to know the person and what their interests are, and something about comics. I think there's probably something out there for everyone.
Well, another
to get into.
suggestion would be someone who liked Iron Man 2, pick him up a copy of Iron Man 2 on Blu-ray, and then grab like Extremis or one of the World's Most Wanted, or one of the more recent Iron Man runs off of that, and bundle it up. So you got
Yeah.
the Iron Man comic and you got the Iron Man movie. Here, this is what you already know you like. This is what you could be getting them into.
That's a good idea.
Right.
And wouldn't it probably work too? Like if you know someone who likes a superhero, get them like an omnibus collection. It's expensive, but I guarantee you, will be happy to get it.
Marvel's got some great reprints of some of their older stuff. Some it's in black and white, large bound editions, $20 for something like 300, 400 pages.
Cool.
Trouble is with some of the superhero stuff, you have to be careful because, the one book I would never give anyone who is just starting into comics was Green Lantern. And to explain, because you could give them like the first book, like, oh my God, the art was crazy, this and the shark, my God. 12 other volumes? Am I gonna be alive enough for you to give me one of these each Christmas? Like, what the hell? I mean, that's the trouble with introductory books. There's very few, very, very few. Certainly in the mainstream, but even when you get to manga, it's like there's so many volumes to things. It's very hard to find the self-contained books. I mean, that's why I even want to.
I'm actually going to argue that. Like, look at Green Lantern: Secret Origin, almost entirely self-contained origin retelling that happens to tie into the whole Blackest Night event, but it's a great self-contained starter.
So you'd be happy with that if that was your first experience.
Gave it to my sister as hers, and she dug it and asked me for the rest of the Green Lantern trades I had.
Cool.
So
For me, it would be Captain America Truth. So
That's solid read.
that's a good read. So
And just to get back to Superman Earth 1, is that pretty self-contained? I haven't read it
very.
yet.
It's totally.
And has no one
great.
It's
has
brand new
everyone
continuity.
has everyone forgotten All-Star Superman? That's actually what I got my dad for Christmas
no, because
one
they're
year.
coming out with an All-Star Superman DVD. So in the next-
Really?
Which is
Yeah.
which is a kind of a dumb name to call it, like All-Star Superman. Like
I
for the
think
comic, it
matches
made
the
sense.
tone perfectly.
Is that when
I
he has cancer?
No, that's when
No,
he gets
that's-
sun.
That's when he's like his
Yellow
cells are
sun
overloading,
poisoning.
and like they're like, what are we going to do without Superman?
And that was drawn by Frank Quiley, Grant
Yeah.
Morrison.
Yes. Oh, that's still one of my favorite mainstream comics of the
All right,
last 10
because
years.
I have the issues and I stopped reading them for some reason, so I gotta.
It got a
'Cause
little
it
bit
took them too long.
dense
It
in
took
the
them
middle.
too long from issue to issue. That's what it was, because I was on the All-Star Batman and Robin. It took like 4 or 5 months for the next
Yeah,
issue to come out.
I started.
Yeah,
this-
but for every 4 or 5 issues of Morrison, there was one issue of Batman, and the Superman's
Yeah.
ended actually.
I started losing interest when he made Lois Lane the suit and they're flying. I'm like, all right, I've seen this in Superman the movie. Like them flying around.
Well, everything he did was a nod to like the old classic stories, because I mean, I think there was at least 55 Mort Wessinger stories where he was giving Lois and Lana Lang superpowers and stuff like that. So I mean, I thought that was like a wink and a nod to the older
Oh
stories.
yeah, it was very much so with like a lot of the scenarios he found himself in. The somewhat
Yeah.
more off the cuff, sort of like very like a lack of acknowledgement of like the real world almost. It's like,
Well,
this seems
yeah.
like a perfectly normal scenario for everyone to wind up in.
So that's cool. So obviously, really cool standalone editions of comics, hardcovers. But for those of you probably who are hurting for cash, I mean, you probably find some good stocking stuffers out there.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, superhero belt buckle, keychain.
Superman 5, The Quest for Peace.
Oh God.
Let's
That
never
was Superman 4. And,
You know what, actually
and I'm
saw-
embarrassed I know that and can
You know what
correct
I,
you.
you know what I saw at Best Buy that was kind of cool? It was like all the Superman movies with Christopher Reeves on one DVD for like $10.
Everyone take note in TV land. By the time you hear this, that deal will be gone.
Well, they have a series though. They have like Blade,
it'll be
and, like the
Valentine's
Dirty
Day.
Harry movies,
Oh yeah.
Nightmare on Elm
yeah, yeah.
Street. So a lot of
Just in time for everything to switch to Blu-ray. Perfect.
yeah
They're cross compatible.
Yeah.
for now.